made me cry a lot. I just cried a lot. Her voice.
So, I thought I would divide my little talk into maybe like 3 segments where I'll tell you some stories and then I could show you some deconstruction videos, some inside scoop, and then I'll get questions from y'all. So I guess my first thing, let me just cleanse the palate. Any favorite Broadway stars you want to hear a story about? That's what I do on my Broadway cruise. I'm like, just name a Broadway star and tell your story. Go.
Sarah Bogus.
Okay, Sarah Bogus, hold on. Start with Sierra. This is so inside, maybe you'll think it's funny, it made me laugh. Okay, so she did one of my Broadway cruises. And, you know, usually the passengers are really fun, but there's always like 1 or 2 annoying passengers. So Sierra was she was walking off the ship, and this woman was calling her, and said she was a big fan. So Sierra's walking, the woman who was a big fan, she was going like this, Sonia! Sonia! So ever since then I called Sierra Sonia. So then, 2 years later, I'm doing a concert with Sierra and Ramin, Karen Liu. And 2 days before he got this terrible flu. And he had to cancel. So I said, we either have to reschedule with the both of you, or you can do the concert by yourself, but this has to be the opening number. And I sent her from Natasha Pierre, the song that's called Sonia Alone. Anybody? Thank you, I was so proud of myself. Okay, anybody else?
Jonathan Groff.
Wait, I heard Jonathan Groff and who else? Darren Criss and John. Adam Pascal. Oh, Adam, I got it. This is right here. I'll make fun of him. Okay, so 2 Adam Pascal stories. And this is good too, more than I'm telling you. So I do a lot of shows with Adam, and you know, he was supposed to want to be a rocker, man. And I said, were you one of those annoying rock musicians that had a fake name? And he was like, yes, I did. I said, do it. And I made him admit what it was. And instead of Adam Pascal, when he was around 19 or 20, he changed his name to Rain Madison. But he spelled it R-A-Y-N-E. Okay, so when he comes out, I want you all to be like, Rain Madison, Rain Madison. He will die. That's A. B, when we were doing, he did the show that I wrote, he did the show Disaster with me on Broadway, and oh my God, he was so great, he was so funny, but before we sang the song Feelings, it was me, Carrie Butler, and Adam. And I would say, I think I would say, I don't need her. Carrie would go, we were going to do 7 solids. I don't need her, I don't need him. And then Adam would go, I don't need her, and then Feelings. Anyway, so one night I go, I don't need her. Carrie goes, I don't need him. Silence. And then I just hear, shit. And Adam was off stage talking to Max Crumb. And after the show, he said, I was off stage talking to Max Crumb. So I went to my friend Paul Castry and I said, oh my God, I feel so bad for Adam. He didn't know his mic was on. And Paul goes, did he know the show was on? Why are you chatting backstage? All right, any ladies you want to hear about? Sutton and Otter. And then I'll give you my little story after. Okay, so Sutton. This is just, I think, a great, okay, 2 stories. So the first one is just very inspirational stories for any performers in the house? Woo! Okay, well I think this is just great for performers, but really for anybody. Basically, it's the whole like follow your heart. So Sutton, I met Sutton during Grease, and then she played Eponine on the Les Mis tour, and then my friend Dick Scanlon, with whom I did pageant, wrote Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I was like, and when I first did it, I first was music director at Amanda Naughton, was Millie, and then Darcy, I can't remember her name, and then Kristen, Darcy Roberts, yes, and then Kristen Chenoweth. Anyway, it was the final production of Millie that was going to go to Broadway, and my friend Tammy Tappan was auditioning. But anyway, Sutton was auditioning, and I was like, you have to cast Sutton. Cut to, she's not cast. So her agent called and said, you didn't get Millie, it's just an ensemble in La Jolla, but you got Eponine, but this time on Broadway. And she said, I really want to be part of something new. I want to take Millie. And he was like, you literally could be making more money than you've ever made in your entire career, having a lead role in a Broadway musical. He said, this show's out of town, it's not guaranteed to go to Broadway, and it's literally the chorus. And she said, I want to do something new, I've already played Eponine. And she chose Lily Ensemble and Millie over starring as Eponine and Les Mis, and then I'm sure everybody knows she wound up taking over the lead role and winning the Tony Award. But she didn't take it to take over the lead role, she took it just to be in the ensemble, to do something new and creative. So she really followed her artistic heart, and there's like a story that I'll tell you that reminds me of that. But that's such a great message for everybody out there, not to do basically what other people tell you to do, but really to follow your own artistry, and that's why she took Millie, even though it was literally the ensemble. And then comedy, my version of comedy, everybody, if you know me, you know I'm obsessed with high belting. I mean, I met Sutton, she was belting so high, being alive, D sharp. And then when she got Millie, she got really nervous about losing her voice. And she was just only belting C's. And I was like, oh, come on. I was like, you can belt higher than a C. I was always busting her. Cut to, she does Little Women, and she called me, and I have the voice message saved. And she goes, Seth, because she was rehearsing the song Astonishing. And she goes, Seth, I'm rehearsing my new song in Little Women. I belt an E flat. I'm back. I'm back. She goes, amazing. Well, I'm back. I'm back. In terms of Audra, I was just telling this story yesterday. So when I did, God, what was it though? Okay, so when I was I played, I was the sub. Steve Marzullo was the original pianist, and I was his sub. So Audra was in it. I've known Audra since, I've known her since she was in college. I played her senior recital with Juilliard. So we were really good friends, and in the middle of ragtime, she's in the attic, and she's blank-faced, right? And then Colehouse comes, and he plays this, ragtime song to try to make her come down from the attic. He's right before new music, and she's all depressed, and she's refuses to come down. So she told me, but it's a hard piano, so oh, wait, by the way, on Broadway, even though Bryce Stokes was really good at piano, they take the strings out of the piano, so he was playing it, but it's really the pit that's playing it. So Audra was in the attic, being all depressed as Sarah, and she's like, oh my God, Seth's playing this for the first time, oh my God, I'm so nervous he's gonna mess up. And then Audra said, after I played it really well, she was like, oh my God, he nailed it. And then she's like, wait, I'm not supposed to be impressed as Sarah. So I love the audience, like, wow, Sarah loved it, she's gonna come down from the attic. Oh, she's depressed again. The other funny Audra story that I was also told somebody last night, I don't know where I told this, maybe in the VIP meeting, but at the end of Act 1, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Act 1, but unfortunately Sarah dies. So two things happen. They lift up her body and they carry her off, and unfortunately an understudy was on one of the people lifting, and he had her too close to his outfit, and her head got caught on one of his buttons as it was going up, and wig fell off. And so the audience was like, Sarah's dead, and she's bald? Then she goes off stage, gets into a coffin, and they wheeled her on immediately. And the swings in the show that weren't doing the show that night, this is the 90s when people had beepers, they used to line the coffin with their beepers. She wouldn't know it, she'd lay on top of it, and then during that whole devastating end of Act 1 song, they would call their beepers from the offstage payphone. So underneath her was like, so that happened. Annie to the Who. Okay, so I brought some deconstruction videos because I feel like I have some time to show. So I know you guys like quote-unquote deep cuts. So I thought I would tell you about the original production of, I can show the Vita. I'll show the Vita first. So first I'll show this. So this is a clip from Pat of the Opponent of Vita that I wanted to just take in because the singing is crazy amazing. If you don't know, basically belted notes on Broadway, the big belt note was like a B. Everything's coming up roses for me and for you was like a B. That was like, oh my God, she's belting a B every moment. Everything began to go up in the 60s. Betty Buckley, Melville Moore, Laura Beachman, Brenda Peters, Pat of the Opponent, they all brought it up. So by the time the Vita happened, Patty, instead of belting a B, she's now belting an E. So she's going, he's a fortune, it's 4 steps up. So first I want you to just take in the incredible belting, but then I'm going to do an interesting deconstruction of this. So this is the Vita 1 from the Tony Awards, and whenever you want, you can hit it. Yeah. Okay, phenomenal singing. However, the deconstructing aspect is this. So when you do the Tony Awards, I'm sure you all know, all the Broadway theaters come into one theater. So they're not all filming in their separate theaters. And theater stages, there are different sizes on Broadway. There's not all a standard size. So we're at the Tonys where that year, the stage was a little bit wider. So normally Patty would go, if not, how could you love me? And she'd link arms with Perone, who was standing next to her. But because the stage was a little wider, and because her show was frozen, she linked arms with the exact same angle that she would always do, but he was 1 inch over, so she just aggressively links the air. So this is something that you notice from watching Tony Ward broadcast 6 to 7 times per day. So I'm watching her now and notice how she's like, I'm sassy. No, I'm not. So let's take a gander at it. And as soon as this, you'll see, like as soon as the sound starts getting weird, you can just lower the sound so I can talk over it. So this is Evita 2. Hit it. Now watch this arm. Busted. Now let's watch it again. Okay, I lowered the volume for a second. Now look at her confidence. She's going towards the arm with the utmost confidence, but right at the moment of connection, there is nothing linked but carbon monoxide. She is pumping simply the air. Manny Patinkin sees it and turns away in disgust. If you look closer, she's in a perfect cup position, but unfortunately the Tony Award board saw it and it took her 28 years to win her next Tony Award. Sorry, Patty. Okay, so I'll show you one more interesting demonstration. This is, okay, so the backstory is for you performers out there. So my friend Anika Larson. Anika, by the way, the only person to have been on Broadway in Xanadu and off Broadway in Xanadu. Isn't that crazy? It's totally true. So she was in Xanadu and Xanadu. She was doing beautiful. She played Cynthia Wilde. And she would come out and sing like to Carole King, like, I write great lyrics, listen to the song. And she would sing Happy Because You're Here Again. She completely forgot the lyrics during it. And then she was like, so she just went like, okay, cut. Let's start this from the beginning. She didn't know what else to do. And she just assumed, I think the lyrics will come to me. And they came to her. And she thought to herself, I guess this makes sense because I'm a lyricist presenting my own lyrics. But she was really freaked out. She goes, oh my God, does the audience know that I messed up? And her line after the song was a laugh line and the audience laughed. And she said, oh my God, audiences, if they're nervous for you, they won't laugh. So she's like, I saved it. And what she always tells people when she lectures is being a professional doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. It's how you recover from a mistake. So that is leading into this video from Sideshow. So you all know the show Sideshow, right, by Henry Krieger. If you don't know, it's about conjoined twins, Emily Skinner and Alice Ripley played the two leads. One of the things I hate the most is haughtiness, wrong information but said haughtily. They basically just stood together. That's how they looked like they were conjoined. After the show, people would always say to Alice Ripley, I saw the magnets. I saw the magnets. Like, there were no magnets, but like a lot of, I'm sure myself. Anyway, they just stood together. So that's how, and you'll see at the beginning, they walk together, they stand. And the end of Act 2, they sing this beautiful song, I Will Never Leave You. So the show, it's really a cult hit. It only ran for like around 100 performances on Broadway and it closed in January. Cut to that June, it's nominated for Best Musical. So I was talking to Alice and she said, it was so weird since the show, it had been so long since they'd done the show. They were selling in the costumes and the wigs, live on the Tony Awards, and she completely freaked out. And the way the song begins, it goes, what have we done? Lost our men, closed the door, open more. I'm scared, Daisy, of what, being alone? So Alice must walk forward and go, what have we done? But she was so freaked out, she just went, I'm scared, Daisy. She literally sang her subtext, and it was the lyrics 4 phrases later. So she goes, I'm scared, Daisy. It's supposed to be, what have we done? Lost our men. So she goes, I'm scared, Daisy. Emily goes, we've lost our, I'm starting a new phrase. We've lost our men. Alice is like, close the door. So I want you to just watch it. It's fascinating because basically you see like everyone trying to work it. So just know how scary. I know Allie was talking about the Tony Awards. It is so effing scary to be on the Tony Awards and know that you're making a mistake in front of millions of people. So let's watch the beginning of the Sideshow. Okay, hit it. So Alice is supposed to go, what have we done?
I'm scared.
Emily.
Lost our men.
Alice.
Closed our door. Open more.
As I was saying,
I'm scared. Being alone. But you're not. You never have been.
okay, just pause for 1 second. Before I show this one more time, you can buzz it. Let me just tell you a quick Sideshow story so that you can really know what their subtext is. This is their crazy relationship. So that's one of the most famous mess-ups on Broadway that I know. In Sideshow, they sing the song, "Why can't you leave me alone?" And they back up, and curtain goes like this, and then this vaudeville number begins, where the men are like, "We've been to," and they sing the song about, "We've been to Egypt," and then the curtain opens, a sphinx opens, and they come out in this brand new costume, and they sing this vaudeville number as conjoined twins that are basically like in Egypt in a sphinx. So they would back in front of that, back of that curtain, they'd have like a 30-second costume change to get into their sphinx outfit. So they go, "Why can't you leave me alone?" They back up, curtain closes, and Alice gets into her full sphinx outfit. Alice looks over and Emily's like, and Emily's like, "How can I have gained 30 pounds between yesterday's show and tonight? She can't get her costume on." Turns out the dresser had left out the costume for the understudy, who was like a size 0. And there is a costume change, Emily can't even get on, and she said the dresser like turned white and had to go back to the dressing room, and because they never left the stage, the dressing room was on the 4th floor. So meanwhile, on stage, the guys are like, "We've been," they just start the number again. So they're circling around, so I said to Emily, I said, "Wait, was Alice helping you?" She goes, "No, Alice was doubled over laughing." So Alice laughing so hard, finally the dresser comes down. The poor men have been doing it like 7 times in a row. They run into the sarcophagus, and by accident they got in on opposite sides. So like they'd had the conjoined twin surgery, were separated, and then got reattached on the opposite side. So Alice only thought was not this makes no sense, but she goes, "I'm not doing this choreography on the other side," because they had to reverse choreography, so they get back out of the sarcophagus. Anyway, they said when it opened, the ensemble boys were like, so the point is, just know that this is Alice's karma, what happened when she last saw Emily. And then my point of relating this to that, Anika is, even though they made this huge mistake, look how incredible they are. Look how they finished the number, and they're so brilliant. It's one of my favorite performances in the Tony Awards. So watch the mistake again, and then see how great they are at the end. Okay, hit it. Again, it's supposed to be, what have we
I'm
done?
scared.
Emily.
We've lost our man.
Alice.
Closed our door, opening more. I'm scared. What? Being alone. But you're not. You never have been. If we stood on our tiptoes,
So good.
we could peek over the sill. And once in a while we would see her slowly walking up.
They're just standing together, they're no
And we
magnets.
think, what a sad situation to be outside on your own. To go through the town with no playmate. To go through life alone. I will never leave you. I will never go away. We were meant to share each moment. Beside you is where I will stay. Evermore and always, you'll be my warrior too. For I will never leave you. When the day is filled with shadows, and stretch into the night, I am filled with your sweet comfort, like morning fills with light. I will never leave you. I will never go away.
It's just unison, it's so powerful. No harmony at all.
Beside you is where I will stay. Evermore and
Orchestrations by Howard Mueller, who just passed away. Brilliant orchestrator. Here they go. The song began with this big mess up. Look how great they are. Isn't that fantastic? Such a great message. Okay, one more thing to show you because it's Pride Day, and then I'll take questions if you have. So, you know, it's Pride in New York, and the day of the Tony Awards, and the same year that I wrote Disaster and Jennifer Samart was nominated, that morning was the shooting at the Pulse nightclub, which was a terrorist attack, and it was probably based on religion because the guy was very anti-gay, and all these gay people were shot. It was the biggest, really biggest terrorist shooting of that time in America, gay people. Anyway, it was very hard to be excited about the Tony Awards when this horrible thing happened. So my husband the next day, James, was riding his bike and he thought we really should do like a We Are the World with Broadway people. And he said, and the song he kept listening to was about the world, and that was love. So he came home and he said, what if we do like a We Are the World with all Broadway people, and we raise money for the people's families who passed away and the people who were shot, and we also just raise awareness about gun violence and about gay hatred, and we do it with all Broadway stars. So I started texting people, and I really thought I can't do this myself, and I texted Mark Shaman, and I said, Mark, can you music direct this whole thing? I'm too freaked out, I can't do it myself. And Mark was doing Mary Poppins Returns, and he's like, I can't, you can do it. And I was like, no, I can't. Anyway, I wanted to do it, but I was freaking out. So we started texting people. I think really the first person I think I texted was Dina, and Dina said yes, and all the people began saying yes. That was a Monday, and by Wednesday, we were recording between shows. We got tons of people, and I was trying to figure out who was gonna sing the solos, and James said, well, one of the cool things about We Are the World is the disparity of voices, like Cyndi Lauper followed by like Willie Nelson. He said just the more voices that are kind of different next to each other will make it really fun. And everybody showed up. They didn't know they were going to be filmed, so like a lot of people like aren't really in makeup, but they were all fine being filmed. They didn't know they were going to have solos or not. It wasn't like, you know, they knew they were going to be featured or not, but we did it on a Wednesday between shows, tons of people. Jesse Mueller was like, do you want me to ask Carole King? I was like, yes, dear. So many people were, you know, bringing their friends, and we mixed it maybe the next day. I mean, it was so crazy quick, and then it went, like, then one day it went to #1 on iTunes, and it raised money for Orlando, and then we flew down to Orlando, we did a big concert there, and then we got invited to perform it at the Democratic National Convention. But I thought it'd just be a cool thing to show on Pride Day, and there's so many incredible Broadway stars that did this number. It's one thing that's really fun to just listen to it and try to guess who the voices are because they're all so distinct. But it's fun to also watch this, and just a perfect thing for Pride. I'm trying to think of any other interesting scoop on it. No, I remember just going out to DC on a bus. It was like summer camp. We were all going over our harmony. It was like, just let me carry you. I mean, it was just crazy. All right, so we can watch this. I'm sad that there's some people that have passed away since then. You know, Rebecca Luker is in it, which is, you'll see, it's very beautiful. But I'm very thankful that we did this, and this is a great song for Pride. Okay, let's hit it. Oh no, any sound? Hold on. If not, we can just maybe go directly from YouTube. Let's see. Oh, please. What do we think?
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's
Make it, Jesse.
to love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. No, you don't need another mountain.
Thank you. Do you guys have any questions before I get the H out of here? Yes?
So I recently gotten super into ragtime, and I've been listening a lot to the original version that you worked on.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much, and I'm just interested to hear if you've like anything to talk about with it. And in particular, I feel like I love the song Sarah Brown Eyes so much,
Yeah.
which isn't really a song that I feel like the show is known for, and I feel like it's such a hidden gem. So if you have any insight into that,
Sure, yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
See, she's talking about Ragtime and Sarah Brown Eyes. That's the one song that I have a big story about, not big story, but I have a story. So when the show was in workshops, and Audra was like, oh wow, I died at the end of Act 1. She was literally walking around telling people, she's like, ha ha, I get to be in my dressing room all of Act 2 while you have to work, ha ha. And Flaherty and Aaron's were like, why do we have Audra McDonald in a show and we're not using her in Act 2? And they literally wrote that song to put her in it because of Audra's big fat mouth. That song was really, seriously, ha ha. Anybody on this side? Yes. Oh, you're online. Thank you. So professional. Yes.
Well, I figured it might as well. Seth, so first of all, happy Pride.
Back at you.
And as other members of the tribe, happy 100th birthday to Mel Brooks.
Oh my God. Go Jews. Today, I love it. Combo platter.
So number one is if you have any interesting stories about Mel. But the other is, speaking of Jews, speaking of New York and Broadway and everything that's going on right now, we've heard a lot in the last 2 days about how the Broadway community is very tight, and when they're in the show with other people, they're very close together. And yet we have this issue hanging over our heads, which is incredible growing anti-Semitism and other things. I know that you happen to be the lead of an organization that handles that. What is it like right now for a Jew on Broadway?
That's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, so I was just talking about, well, you were getting the microphones on. So just in a nutshell, so I've always been, I do a lot of social justice work and Actors Fund and Broadway Cares Everybody AIDS, but then also, besides that, I would do this thing called Hearts and Voices where you bring singers to hospitalized AIDS patients, and I did it for around 20 years, and it was the prison ward at St. Clair's Hospital, so it was hospitalized prisoners that had AIDS because the hospital wasn't good enough, and it wasn't really gay people, it was mostly, black and brown, it was a minority community. National Immigration Law Center, Sierra Club, I've really never really done anything Jewish-wise, because I've always been like, I haven't really ever faced any anti-Semitism, so I've always been like, I don't have to deal with anything. And then October 7th happened, the terrorist attack, and I got a letter from someone that lived in Israel, and he said, I'm a New Yorker, I was very close friends with Sondheim. He said, why hasn't the Broadway community spoken out about this? Like, this terrorist attack happened, like 12 people were murdered, why is there such silence? So I wrote to a couple of organizations, one of them I wrote to was Broadway Cares Everybody AIDS, and I said, you guys, you have to issue a statement. And they put something out, and they said, we're so sorry for the people that were murdered from this war started by Hamas. And immediately everyone's like, started by Hamas? And there's all this like, how dare people say Hamas did it? It's like, but they did. So I was like, this is sort of crazy. And then someone said, can you do a video like with all these, I would love to help, there were all these hostages that were being held, and by the way, a lot of them weren't Jewish, and not that I have to defend that, but there were all these people from Thailand that were being held hostage, so I did a video about that, and I began to get all this crazy hate online, even though literally for 30 years I've been a leader of social justice. Like, can we like maybe pick on someone else that maybe hasn't done charity work for literally 30 years? And then I went to Shelley Williams, who founded Black Theater United. They announced their formation on our live stream. And I said, Shelley, I'm getting this crazy anti-Jew hatred. And I said, can you help? And she said, you can't really look to us to help. She said, we had to form our own organization to tell people what we needed. So I formed the Jewish Broadway Alliance to actually, and really one of the main reasons is I just want to educate, because unfortunately this sounds like conspiracy theories, but a lot of the misinformation is really being funded by like Iran and Russia because they're trying to divide the left, because I don't know if there are any people from the right here, but the way the right can rise is the left divides itself. So there's all this misinformation for me. People on the left kind of dislike each other, and I just wanted to have clear information so there's just clear information and not hyperbole. So I formed it to basically do lectures like, I was talking to Hillary Clinton, like have Hillary Clinton say, like, here's what actually happened, and plus spread Jewish joy. As for what we can do on Broadway, all I can really do is just keep kind of saying like, that's misinformation, and really trying to educate people, but it's really, really difficult, and I have Jewish friends in Broadway shows that are in dressing rooms where there's a lot where it would not be tolerated at this day and age against any other minority, but really horrible things are being said, and he feels he can't go to company management because he's like, I'm the only Jewish person that are gonna know that it's from me. So it is really scary. All I can say is, we all want what's right, we all want social justice. Before you post, before you believe anything, really please God do the research and really know what you're saying when you're posting is correct. And if it is correct, yeah, go ahead and post it, but just know that a lot of shit is misinterpreted to try to divide people, and I'm really just trying to give clear information, and it is very upsetting that Jewish people, and we literally founded Broadway, we created Broadway, there's been such a turn against us, so believe me, it's been incredibly devastating and difficult for me, so I appreciate you bringing it up, and it's really lovely to be here and feel all this warmth and joy from everybody. I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
That's amazing. Amazing. Thank you for your question. Guys, Seth Rudetsky! Who's next? Oh, you know who's next?
Okay.
Oh, you know who's next?